Welcome to my channel, everyone. I am Sons of the Biz Gaming, and today I'm going to give you 12 advanced tips to help you survive the world of West Virginia inside Fallout 76. So I hope you guys are ready. I'm going to talk about factions. I'm going to talk about easy way to make some caps, easy way to free up some inventory. So keep watching if you want any of these tips, and there's a little bit of lure thrown in at the end of the video, so stay tuned. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoy it. I put quite a bit of work into it. Let's get right into the video.
I got broads in Atlanta, just to lean the family, credit cards in the scammers, hitting the licks in the van.
Alright guys, we're going to jump into the first tip of the video. First we're going to talk about vendors. Now vendors in this game sadly don't have very much caps to barter with. They only have about 200 limit a day. This gets reset daily. But what you guys might not have known, there are 7 factions in the game that we know of. And each one of these factions have their own select vendors. Some of these factions only have 1 vendor. Some of these factions have 3 or 4 or 5 vendors. So what this means is every faction has its own separate 200 limit. So you can actually possibly make 1,400 caps a day by going to selling to all these factions. Alright guys, I'm going to go ahead and throw in a little freebie tip for you guys, so you are welcome ahead of time. Right here is a map for all the vendors and the factions they belong to. Go ahead and study that. I will link it in the description below if you do want to go check it out yourselves. But make sure you memorize some of those locations. So when you go into your game, make sure you're always tinkering, by the way. Make sure you're always bulking your items at a tinkering station, which I have a video going more in depth on how to do that and why doing that is great. So go check that out. But anyways, make sure you're bulking items and make sure you're carrying a certain amount of bulked items that you don't need from your stash into your inventory. Now make sure it's nothing real important. Make sure it's something you have an excess amount of or that you don't need, because you can lose this stuff if you die. But try to always keep something in your junk inventory or in your inventory in general to sell. So when you notice, when you've got those locations in your mind from that map, when you notice you're by a certain vendor that you have not reached that limit with, go ahead and go to that vendor and sell your shit. Get in the habit of doing this and it will make your game a lot better and make inventory management a lot better while making your pockets a little bit more heavy. Now if you're wanting to know more about these factions, go ahead and keep watching towards the end of the video because I have more info on them and how to join their quest line. Anyways, before we get into that, I'm going to jump into my next tip. Now we just got done discussing bulking. Well, it's kind of hard to bulk items if you don't have that precious plastic that is so hard to find sometimes. Well, this next tip might just help you out. Now one of the harder materials to find in this damn game is plastic, which is needed for many things, but like I previously mentioned, it is mostly used for bulking items, at least in my case. Now Camden Park is a really good place to get plastic. If you notice by the food carts and just scattered around in general, you'll find all kinds of Nuka-Cola cups and straws. Pick all of these up, they give you a good amount of plastic. So are these other items: dog bowls, cat bowls, plastic spoons, cigarettes, cigarette cartons, just to name a few, and Nuka-Cola packs. Make sure to pick those up as well. And I would go ahead and make sure to check your inventory and just every once in a while and see what junk items give you what, so you have it in your head when you're picking up an item what it actually gives you. This is really good to get in the habit of, and later on at a crafting station you can mark certain items to search for, which I will explain later on, so you can do that. But go ahead and learn the materials because it's good to know what junk gives you what. Now if you're like me, you like to fast travel every once in a while, but you hate using it because it's so damn expensive on your caps, and caps are so precious in this game. Well, here's a little tip to help you set up a couple free fast travel stations. Now this does take a little bit of effort, a little bit of work, but it's worth it because you get materials at the same time. Did you know when you claim a workshop, you can automatically fast travel to that workshop for free at any time as long as you hold it? Now if you're smart about this and about how you set up your defenses, you can hold that workshop fairly easy, unlocking a very useful fast travel point, which means if you're able to hold multiple workshops, you can hypothetically have free fast travel all over Appalachia. So this is very beneficial for farming events scattered all over the map. Now not to mention all the materials you can have coming in, and this method can be expanded further upon with a whole group of teammates. So if I were you, I suggest just to go out and experiment and see if this is something you like to do, because it can actually cut hours off your journey and make progressing through the game a little bit easier on you if you're that type of person. While we're on the subject of materials, if you didn't know, you can actually toggle tag search for your components in the crafting menu, meaning it will make the components you need for whichever items you toggled it on for pop up in the world next to that item. Now you can tell if an item has the component you need by the mark right next to it to the right. You can toggle items by hitting down the left analog stick on PS4 and Xbox. I'm not exactly sure what the PC controllers are, but it should tell you in the middle of the crafting screen which to press. Now I know this is a beginner tip, but I did leave it out of my previous video. You'd be surprised what some players don't notice, which isn't their fault, especially if you haven't played a Fallout game in the past. Are you looking for a good power suit armor for low levels, well around level 25? Well, look no further. I have the perfect suit for you, the Excavator power armor suit. You can find this by going to the Garnham mining headquarters. I probably got the name wrong. I apologize for that. And actually just click on the sign that says Excavator armor. And when you click on it, it will give you a mini quest to build that armor. And there you go. Just follow that quest line and you will have your Excavator armor. This is one of my favorite early power suit armors to get. So if you need one, go check this out. Beware though going to this place, because you can get your ass kicked. There's a lot of super mutants, so either bring a friend or just be prepared. Now I'm sure the question on all your minds is there a good hidden shop with a lot of good items in this game? And the answer to that question would have to be a hell yes there is. Now you can find a really cool shop, but slightly hidden at the Pleasant Valley Ski Resort. Now this trader is part of the Raider faction, keep that in mind, but it's a cool trader to go to, and they have some really good items, so I would look around there. Just bring a lot of caps, because they're a little pricey. Alright guys, the next tip I'm going to get into is perk card sharing. Now do not ignore this mechanic of this game. In this game you can actually share your perk cards. Share the ability of your perk cards with your teammates that's on your team. And you do this while you're inside the perk screen by hitting triangle on the PS4 or Y on the Xbox One. And what this will do is allow that card's effect to be shared between all party members. So this is very useful, so do not overlook this. A lot of people overlook this and don't think about it. But if you're in a party a lot, especially if you're in a party a lot, focus on trying to get the handle of this, trying to get used to it and seeing what it's all about, because this is useful as shit. I'm telling you, trust me. Start messing around with this, you'll start noticing different things. For instance, if you all share the XP card, just do the math in your head, and if it's all, you got 4 teammates with 15% maxed out XP cards and you're all sharing it, you're getting extra XP. This is a real good thing. You can delve real deep into this, and there could be all kinds of different shit you can do. Anyways, enough talking about perk card sharing. Let's go ahead and jump into my next topic. So if you're like me in any capacity at all, you love the building in this game. And if you love this game, you most likely do like the building. And if you're also like me, you love finding a cool ass place to build and build to your heart's content. Build what you want. But sadly, there's a building budget. Well, just in case you didn't know, especially if you're low level, as you level up, that budget actually increases. So you can actually raise that budget by going to level up a bit. So if you're having problems building the base you want, maybe go level up 5 levels or so and see what the difference is. Because it's actually a pretty good difference. And do not forget, items stored in your storage section of your workshop are counted towards your budget. So make sure you're deleting those items as well if you want to build something new, or make sure you use those items. The next thing I want to discuss are the outfits. Now I'm sure a lot of you see these outfits on the ground, for instance like pastor garments or a ranger outfit, and thought to yourself, I don't really want to waste my inventory space picking that shit up, even though it doesn't weigh much. Unless you're like me and like to collect literally everything, because that's what I do. I love collecting every outfit in the game. But anyways, don't ignore these outfits if you're the person who does ignore them, because they are actually worth quite a bit of caps. You'd be surprised how much you can get for a ranger outfit. I got like 70 caps today for one. You could probably get more for different outfits. There's a lot of them, so go ahead and make sure you check out a trader, not just the value of them, but go to a trader and see how much it trades for. And if you invest in the charisma stat and get the perk card that allows you to barter for less and sell for more, I would go ahead and invest in that too, because this will help you raise your cap stash quite a bit, and you can start purchasing the more exotic items from the shop. For instance, I showed you earlier, you can buy the items from that shop with this tip. Anyways, let's stop talking about stupid ass costumes. Let's move on to the next one. And this isn't really a tip, this one is more like lure that people might have missed. So if you do not want to know this, go ahead and skip ahead of the video, because this is a minor detail that you can find out throughout playing the game. The reason I'm going into this is because maybe a lot of people didn't take time to find out how the petrified corpses got the way they are. And I'm sure a lot of people are wondering, because I know I was. And so I'm here to tell you guys, just in case you missed the holotape message or the terminal message that told you all about the lure, I just want to tell you this little piece. I won't spoil too much, because I'm not even 100% sure exactly how they came to be. But if you're like me, are invested in this world of Fallout 76, I would listen, because this is pretty interesting. Now, I'm sure you've seen the Scorched Beast by now, the flying looking dragon wannabes that look like they came straight out of Skyrim. These Scorched Beasts are the whole cause of the petrified Scorches and the Scorched enemies. When they do their special attack, which I will show you here, it's kind of like a, I don't know how to explain it, like a ray of radiation. And when it hits you, it either has a chance to petrify you, or if you live through that and it doesn't petrify you, you become part of the Scorched. Now, the Scorched is the new enemy type that was introduced, as you probably know, and they were humans. Now they're all radiation and all fucked up because of this wannabe dragon came down right after the nukes dropped and attacked people. So that's how the petrified corpses got the way they are, and that's why you see them in their awkward poses, which is kind of cool. I like that. It kind of adds character to the game. Makes you feel like the world used to be lived in. Anyways, let's go ahead and move on to the next topic. The next thing we're going to talk about, the thing I'm sure a lot of people want to know, and that's the factions. Before we jump into the factions part of the video, the last part, I just wanted to touch on holotape video games real quick. I didn't know if a lot of you were sure, but there's a lot of holotape games out there. Well, I don't know if a lot. I personally have only found 2, but I'm just telling you, check your terminals. Make sure they don't have like a game or some type of holotape inside. For instance, the first terminal you get to after you're done creating your character, the one that's right behind you, holds the game Nuka Trapper. And I'm sure most of you are familiar with that one from Fallout 4. Well, it has a version in it that's from Fallout 4. And it's a pretty cool game. You run around, it's like you're bottling up Nuka-Cola like it's beer, sliding it to the customers, and it's a pretty cool game. There's different levels, and it actually gets kind of challenging. And there's another game, which I forgot where I found it. I apologize about that. Should have done my research before this. But there's another game that's like a full-blown old school RPG where you can go out, pick your crew, go out and fight enemies on your Pit-Boy. It's so cool. And you can level up, find items, pick which item you want to give to a certain teammate, etc., etc. I just wanted to touch on that and tell you guys, check the terminals, because you never know what you might find in it. Now we're going to touch on the final part of this video, which is like 5 tips inside one. Factions. Now, I mentioned earlier how vendors are tied to factions. Now I'm going to tell you a little bit more about them and how they work, as well as where to start the quest. Now, there are spoilers ahead, so be warned. Let's start with the one most know about so we can get into the more interesting factions. The Responders. Now, the Responders is a faction that your main quest leads you to, which is started in Flatwoods. Now, in this video, I'm only discussing where to start the faction quest. I will have a video coming out going over lure of all the factions and going into deep detail. And the Responders doesn't really need an explanation, because you will find it throughout the main quest. Now let's go ahead and move to the next one. We're going to talk about the Fire Breathers, which the Fire Breathers are basically firefighters after the bombs drop. They were firefighters created to go help and rescue, search and rescue, you know. And the quest can be started at Charleston's fire station right here. So if you do want to start that, go ahead there. All you gotta do is walk inside and you'll start the quest. The next one is one of my favorites, the Mistress of Mystery faction. Now I won't spoil anything, but you can start this quest by going to the Lakeview Manor, and this place is gorgeous. I love this place. It's one of my favorite locations. I've showcased it in multiple videos, so check out those videos if you're interested in a little bit more of a deep dive in that. And I will have actually gameplay coming out. That's me just going over this cult by itself. Anyways, let's move on to the Raider faction, and this is a damn cool one. You can start this by going to the top of the world on the map right here, and it's kind of like the large nipple, I guess you could say. That's what it looks like. That's what a lot of people call it. So it's pretty cool. It's actually right next to that shop I showed you at the ski resort earlier, so there's that. And this is it's one of my favorites. You'll meet one of my favorite NPCs, robot NPCs, Rose. You'll fall in love with her, I'm sure. Let's go ahead and move to the next one. Now the Enclave. The Enclave is more of a later game faction and can be started at the abandoned mines. This is one of the more interesting ones, and it's pretty cool once you meet it. I won't spill any details because I would hate to do that to you, because the Enclave is awesome. I want you to experience that on your own. Alright, let's go ahead and talk about the Brotherhood of Steel. And it's probably one of the most known and controversial factions in the game, since people believe the lure's a little messed up, which it depends on how you look at it, and I will have videos going deep on all these factions, so don't worry about that. And it's not really like a whole quest line tied to it, but it does have a quest which can be started at Abby's Mine, which is a location you're led to when you go to the Raiders quest line. At the end of the Raiders quest line, you will be led to this location. Now, like I said earlier, I will explain all these in more detail in another video, so make sure to let me know if this is something you want to see, if you actually want lure videos, and I will put hours and hours of dedication into making those videos for you. Now, the last faction I want to discuss before we end this video is the Free States, which is sort of a group of conspiracy theorists, I guess you could say, or truth finders, and you can start this quest line as well by going to Abby's Mine. 3 of these quests lead to Abby's Mine, so that's kind of cool, so you don't really have to do much searching. But this faction I haven't really delved deep in, but I am interested in that, because I am interested in conspiracy theories altogether, especially from the Fallout universe, because Fallout has some really cool conspiracy theories throughout the game. And I just think it's a really cool faction, and now I can't wait to dive deeper in all these. And there are more factions other than this, but as far as we know right now, there is no quest lines tied to them. The Mothman cult, for instance, and Charleston's emergency government, which I'll go into more detail again in my faction video, if that's what you guys want. So please let me know if you guys want lore videos. I need to know that, so let me know in the comments down below. And if you liked this video, or you learned anything new whatsoever, or if you just liked it in general, go ahead and smash that like button into the abyss for me. I love you guys. Thank you for watching. I'm Sons of the Abyss Gaming. I'll see you guys in the next video. I'm out of here.
I got broads in Atlanta, just to lean the family. Credit cards in the scammers, hitting the licks in the van. Legacies,